Carson Beck could run the table, win the Heisman, and not be the best player on his team. That was Kirk Herbstreit on Friday, talking about the Dogs as they head into this Ole Miss game. And, there's a lot of admiration for Brock Bowers. But man, Carson, if you win it, you're not even the best guy on your team. How about that? I think there's a lot of truth to what he's saying there. In fact, it may be just the straight up truth. It's hard to deny that the Heisman Trophy winner would be someone that's not. It's hard to say that someone that wins the Heisman is not the best player on their team. But Brock Bowers is a little bit different than everybody else. I think you'll agree. He can do stuff. First of all, it doesn't look like he's running very fast at first. Like if you just watch him, it doesn't seem like he's going very fast, I guess. And then all of a sudden, no one can catch him. He's really good at the small steps. That is something he's really good at that I've noticed on the field. And, against Auburn, which is not the only sort of Brock Bowers game, against Auburn, he was so explosive on that touchdown play. And, the one-handed catch that didn't even count and the other amazing catch that did. It's hard to come up for words for Bowers, when you've seen just exceptional players play at Georgia and other places too. Cam Newton was just something else. Obviously, Tim Tebow was different than that, I guess you could say. Noshawn, AJ Green, Matthew, the way that Matthew could throw a football. I'll never forget the first time I saw Matthew throw a football. It was like I wouldn't say a life-changing experience, but as someone who covered a team, it was life-changing on that front. And Bowers is so exceptional that it's hard for me to even describe it right now. Having done this for such a long time, almost quarter century, there are guys. Justin Houston was a freakazoid, but Bowers is just David Pollock, Justin, Greg Blue. There were some really good players that played at Georgia. And Bowers is at least up there, if not better than all of them. I mean, Trayvon Walker was awesome. Jalen Carter was like something like a real challenge to deal with at all times. Bowers, you can forget about. Like, that's what I was trying to say here is you can literally forget about him for games because he plays tight end. And you don't notice tight ends sometimes unless they catch the ball. And oh my gosh, when this guy catches the ball, you're in real trouble. Like, he's not just going to catch it. He's going to catch it and then he's going to run with it. And that's when you got problems. So the South Carolina game in 21, he just split the middle on those two DBs and he was gone. The Georgia Tech game, guy caught a screen and he was gone. Like, through the whole team. And like, this is a tight end we're talking about. It's somebody who's shorter than me, but obviously more fit. That's clear. But he is so, the way he runs is like, it's not like a deer. He's much more like crouched and you wouldn't want to get in the way of it either, by the way. Like, you do not want to get in this guy's way at all. And last year, the dynamic duo that was Brock Bowers and Darnell Washington was about as unstoppable as you could get in terms of just the ability to block people, the ability to just go out, catch passes. I mean, Darnell was more freaky deaky physically than Brock in terms of just size. Like, I don't think a lot of people are big because of my background and playing basketball and just being around a lot of big people. Darnell Washington was like something you very rarely see. Very rarely see. Like Jeff Shepard playing basketball in high school, something like that. It was not normal. And the thing about it, the quandary for the other side is you had Darnell well, we're going to deal with Darnell. And then you got to deal with Brock as well. And you had to deal with, at the time, A.D. Mitchell, Lad McConkey. I mean, they just had people everywhere. It's Stetson Bennett. It is no wonder they scored so many points last year. And, you know, they're scoring a lot of points this year too, by the way. And a lot of the reason why is because of the two guys I mentioned. Now, Bowers, I was right there when he got hurt. And it was hard to tell how serious it was for sure, but he slapped his hand on the ground, I think it was, or he was very frustrated with that moment, which is understandable. I mean, these guys work. I love the kind of old man crowd, and y'all know who you're on. You know who you are. Talking about players and, you know, why do they complain or why do they want money or NIL is the devil and all this stuff. I mean, these guys are working, man. I mean, they're working and they're getting up at, I don't know what time they got up, but we got up at 5:45, and you know, that's a lot of work. And then you got classes, you got other responsibilities, you got a life to live. So when he got hurt like that against Vanderbilt, you know, it was all in front of him. You know, this is very difficult. And then there's discussion of, and I don't even know ever to take these things seriously at all. You know, are people going to say to him, hey, don't come back? Why would he not come back and play? I mean, George Pickens did. Why would Brock Bowers not come back and play? Why would George not have come back to play? To win a national championship? Like, that's not something that just happens. So, you know, George totally should have come back. Was a dog the whole time and made a huge play in that Alabama game. This guy here, you know, before that Alabama game was out there whipping Michigan. It is hard for me to explain or say how important Brock Bowers is, because he just is. And he is very difficult to deal with. Now, in terms of Carson Beck, you know, which one's more likely to win the Heisman? Carson, because he plays quarterback and he's not missing any games yet. So both those things at the same time combined to make it, you know, not out of the realm of possibility that he wins it. It's not out of the realm of possibility that, frankly, either guy wins it. I mean, I think I'm going to go look at it now, but, you know, Jalen Daniels had a pretty good situation going on. I'm just looking at the national championship odds right now. But he, you know, that Alabama game may really set him back. Yeah, I mean, Carson is the number 6 right now. The difference between him and these other guys, maybe with the exception of Penix and Nix, is that he has really marquee games to play. I mean, same thing for Brock, but it's hard to really. Well, it's not the same. Oregon, Washington is not the same as Georgia, Alabama in the mind of the public. I'm not saying that's right. You know, Florida State, Miami is certainly not. J.J. McCarthy has the capability with Ohio State to do some real damage, and Penn State. I got to say, I think it's not right. People are going to hold their Heisman vote against McCarthy because he plays at Michigan. And that's the only way they can kind of penalize Michigan. I think that's childish, but I think that will happen. So Beck has the capability, because no one's really just come up and yanked this thing out of nowhere and said, this is mine. But and Caleb Williams is just like not even in the universe here. Brock Bowers Carson's the 6, Bowers is the 9 in terms of betting odds. And I'll tell you right now, if Brock Bowers comes back and does major damage in these final few games, people will lavish him with praise. Like, it will go over the top. And I just want to know, can the guy catch every ball in the end zone? Because you didn't do that in the UAB game. Which one was it? Yeah. So you've been called out by this guy right here about dropping that ball. We talked about that after that game. I think it was the UAB game. Now, how many balls have you been dropping in the end zone, Brock? But he really, you know, that makes me think of the catch he had against South Carolina in the end zone, where he just went up and snatched it. Boom, boom. I think he got both feet down. I mean, he is an amazing, you know, player. And the thing that Matt DeBerry said, when we were just talking about it, I don't think this was on camera or anything. You know, we talk about guys a lot, and I said, "Did you think he was going to be this good?" He said, "Well, I thought he was going to really, really be good. I just didn't think he was going to be an alien." And that's what he's been. Now, let's see what happens as he comes back. Because we don't really know. We don't really know what coming back from tightrope ankle injury is going to be like for Brock Bowers. We don't know that. That's not something that, I know I'm not smart enough to know. And I don't know if anybody else really will know. And I don't know if Brock will know. Nobody. He's got to go out there and do it. He's been practicing. But, playing is different than practicing. There's a level of exertion that happens in games that doesn't happen in practice. Georgia's probably as close as it gets to mimicking game, though, I have to tell you. They would tell you it's harder than games. But there's something about the band playing. These next two games, the Ole Miss game and then the game against Tennessee, obviously Ole Miss is at night. Tennessee will become a night game. So there's a certain atmosphere that comes with that. There's certain things you feel. But when you read what Kirk has to say about both Carson and Brock, look, certainly Matt and I have been very confident about what Carson Beck has the ability to do. We've seen it. We talk to people that we've not been shy about that. But Beck has proven himself for sure in this at least two game stretch without Bowers. What will it be like when he returns? We will know soon enough. Thanks for watching.